I come with the 16 years of experience into recruitments. I run this firm called Avenues Consulting, and we've been recruiting for some of the top companies in India, like Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers. We work for a lot of banks and financial services firms as well. So IT and finance have been our main domain areas. And in the last 3 years, I have started this platform, which is called On the Job, because I saw this big gap between what what the industry is looking for and the kind of understanding we parents or children have about job profiles as to what is needed, and what kind of careers are in demand, what kind of skills are needed, and career counselors can give you some kind of view up to your aptitudes and skills, but what is the industry actually looking for? We thought we should connect with a lot of industry leaders who are actually doing that job and understand more about what the profile is all about. And that is and that is the thought process behind On the Job. And we already have 40 videos on our website covering top careers, like say from economy, chief economist, to Internet of Things, to to being a chef, to being a celebrity chef, to being a sports management person. And today we are super excited to have with us Mr. Lalan Singh. So a lot of students whom I have counseled. Okay, I also would like to add, like I have. I'm a UCLA certified career coach, and I've been guiding a lot of students in terms of career choices. And a lot of students have been asking me about these new age careers, and a lot of them seem to be very fascinated by aerospace engineering, especially now, because we keep seeing Elon Musk all over the news with the SpaceX and driverless cars, and people are very interested in knowing all about how to become an aerospace engineer, and there is no clarity at all on this particular field. And that is the reason we have with us Mr. Lalan Singh. I'm very excited to introduce him. So he has done his BTech in Aeronautical Engineering, and then he did his Masters in Aerospace Engineering from IIT Kharagpur. And currently he works with Ansys, which is the world's leading simulation company. So it's a US-based company which has which has a huge design hub, and it has an entire hub here in India, in Pune. And so Ansys, it works with the top companies like say GE or Boeing, and what they do is they create their once a prototype is created by the companies, Ansys runs a simulation, and so huge amount of designing and technology cost can be saved by this. So more about this, I would straight away invite Mr. Lalan. Welcome to this wonderful session, and so many students are going to be motivated and inspired by your guidance today. And can you just take us through your profile currently as a lead technologist in Ansys? What do you exactly do? What does your job profile involve?
Yeah, thank you, Neha. So just to you well already explained about the Ansys. So I work for Ansys, and Ansys is a company who really create the software to simulate something, to simulate the physical products. Okay, any company is making any product, irrespective to the automotive, to the aerospace, to the healthcare. Any company, whatever they are doing, they are bringing some product, and once they create this product, they need to test that whatever they are trying to mimic the behavior, whether that particular product is responding in the same manner. And that's what actually we do. And my role at Ansys is basically support all the customers, India and ASEAN. I lead a team of experts which has a various different background within the aerospace as well as non-aerospace, the background. And these experts really solves the customer problem, the real-time customer who's really facing into their design, if they want to create a new product, they want to enhance their product. So how actually we can use this computer tool or the software tool to enhance our performance of that product. So that's my key role, so that I do service all the customers geographically within India, ranging from aerospace to aerospace and various other industry, and not only India, but I also manage ASEAN and Australia. So that's uh, current my role. The second, which is the another role, is that I need to create the second level of leadership, right? Because into the company we need to bring up, skill up the next set of the people to come up and take the more responsibility, create a domain experts in this area. So that's the second responsibility. So one is that supporting the Indian customer, and second that internally we need to enhance the skills of the team member who can really support those, the market requirement and the demand which is coming from the customer. So that's my current role. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, can you just give us one particular example of one project that you might have done, say for GE or for Boeing, where the aircraft design or some modification was done, which I mean through the work that Ansys does, some modification or some thing was done by which they completely enhanced the product and made it better. Can you just give us one example so students can understand the same? Hmm.
Yeah, I think putting that maybe very confidential, usually aerospace are very confidential nature. But I'll just give you
On
just
the
a
top, so
generic term,
everyone
right?
will know.
So, true.
Yeah.
So in generic term, you just look at that, any company, like whether it is a G is basically a aircraft manufacturing company and engine manufacturing company. And if you look at the other side, there is a Boeing or Airbus. They are the company who are really manufacture the aircraft. And if you look at the other end, like Indian companies like HAL or DRDO, they make the whole aircraft, as well as they manufacture some of those imported aircraft, mostly into the defense area. And similarly, we also have the company like Kenel who makes some kind of civil aircraft, like their earlier aircraft was Hansa aircraft, which I worked after my my yearly career. So one of the you can just think of, like, there are two types of job in the which we usually support from the as a company. Like suppose if a company like any aircraft company, if they are making the next version of their aircraft, right? Next version of the aircraft can be a completely new technology, because that is coming from the technological revolution and those the new innovation which is happening in the industry. For example, if you look at the traditional aircraft, so traditional aircraft has mostly the gas turbine engine, which was using mainly especially like a kerosene, which will go and burn, and it will create the thrust to really move the aircraft forward. But now actually the next level of the technology are coming is the electric propulsion, right? So how actually if you want to get into the game for the next 20, 30 years or 40 years, you need to innovate your particular design, which was using earlier as a conventional gas turbine engine to an electric propulsion engine into the future. Now, these are the company then come to us and say that, okay, I have this new requirement, which is I have to convert my conventional engine to a electric propulsion engine, and I want to create electric aircraft, for example. What are the things we can do? So they will come with some ideas, the concept in the beginning based on the research and based on the current innovation which is happening in the industry. And with those concepts, they will try to mimic those concepts through a CAD software into your computer, and they will try to evaluate that performance that whether I'm able to increase my thrust by so and so, 10% or 20%, or am I on the right track, right? So all this process has to be done on a computer, which can be easily done with the less time, less effort, and less money. If you look at the conventional way, people would have been done the same thing. It's not that the simulation or the computer software came only just in the recent past, but all these were available. Aircraft was flying from the many decades from the past after the White brothers, right? So that time there was no software, but the amount of effort the people will put to design that particular concept and evaluation of their performances will be a much, much more time consuming than today, which you can do quickly onto the computer and test it. So for example, engine has been built for this new concept, and you have got some kind of a thrust, suppose some Newton thrust which you got, and then you want to improve that further that thrust by, suppose, a 10% or 20%. Now, if you conventional process, if you do, you need to build that machine. You have to test into the laboratory, and then you have to test under the flight that whether it is really performing that as it is or not. And if it is not performing, then again you go back, you change the design, again do the test, again come back. So all this hit and trial process will keep on going back and forth, and all this requires money, time, and the people. And this is where the simulation plays a role. That you can do all these variation of your ideas, and you can test that whether it will really perform as it is into the market, as whatever it is designed for, Okay. So that's a benefit of the simulation. So you can also think of in a very layman knowledge, term, like you have aircraft. Aircraft has the wing, you have the fuselage, you have the tail, you have the nose, all those components you have, right? Now, if you want to increase the particular aircraft, suppose right now that aircraft is going from the Bangalore to Mumbai, that's their maximum distance it can cover at a particular fuel level. Now, if I want to increase, either in terms of the same aircraft has to fly from not only from Bangalore to Delhi, Bangalore to Mumbai, but it also come back with the same fuel with the to Bangalore also. Means it can just have the 100% efficiency increase on the fuel consumption. Now, how actually you can achieve this? So this you can tune those aircraft parameter either on the geometry shape or on their engine performance, engine data, so that you can really approach to the new goal which you have just the double X of the distance which you want to cover. So that's overall in a nutshell, you can think of. Yeah.
That's great. So I want to know from the audience if you can just type in your chat box. So I guess most of you are interested in science, and that is why you're sitting in this, and you want to understand about various careers, etc. So what is your career goal? What do you want to become? It could be a mechanical engineer, you could be an IT engineer, or you can even do something non-technical. So please type in into the chat box what are your goals and aspirations. So we have some idea about what kind of audience we are looking at currently. So yeah, oh wow, astrophysicist. Yeah, so we have some good answers coming up. In the meantime, Mr. Lalan, I just wanted to ask you the next question. What is the difference between aerospace and aeronautical engineering? What is I mean, this is a question which a lot of kids have asked, and then even to choose the streams, because in India, and do we have aerospace and aeronautical engineering in India? Abroad, of course, we have those classifications. In India, do we have those specific streams of courses? Yeah, guys, I'm waiting for a response. So, I see, just a minute. I see one IIT engineer. He knows IIT, but which part of engineering? That's great. So do type in your responses. Yeah, till Mr. Lalan explains to us the difference between aerospace and aeronautical. Yeah.
Yeah. So as name suggests, so aeronautical is basically any object which you are really flying within the Earth atmosphere. That's basically the aircraft which you build, basically deal with the aircraft which flies from one location to another. That's aeronautical engineering. And aerospace is a combination of aeronautical plus space engineering. Okay, so you not only study about the aircraft which can fly on the earth from point A to point B, but also it can move, that your object can move from one place to another planet, or you can look at in the space, right? For example, all this we are always hearing about ISRO firing a the space vehicle to launch the satellites. So all those things can come into the part of the space engineering. So when combination of aeronautical plus space together really consumes the calls as aerospace engineering. And the difference only happens between these two engineering is aeronautical engineering is all talking about into the one point mass, one body kind of a physics which you study in generally. But space engineering is also about a 2-point or 3-point the 3-body study. Like for example, when you are traveling from any vehicle which is going from Earth to suppose a Mars, it has to take care of the moon movement, it has to take care of the Mars movement, it has to take care of the Earth movement, all this together. So their movement are also studied. So that's where there's a difference. So right now, when we design aircraft which has to fly from point A to point B on the Earth, we really don't take a design consideration about the Earth movement, because that dynamics is not going to change. But when we are creating a the vehicle which has to go from one planet to another, then it has to really understand their movement, and their kinematics and dynamics has to come into the picture. And I think all the students might have studied the dynamics and kinematics, so into their physics. So all those concepts come into the very handy.
Wow, that's wonderful. So I hope all you guys are interested in these concepts that Sir is talking about. So we have some more good answers. We have bioengineering, and I mean what people aspire to be. And second is the Praveer wants to be a scientist, which is wonderful. Still waiting for some more interesting answers. And so, Mr. Lalan, I just want to know what are the different skill sets that go into making, like suppose you're working in an aerospace company or an aeronautical company. So is it mainly like right now students who are more inclined towards mechanical engineering, who like to, or robotics, are they the ones who will make good aerospace engineers, or even the other people like say an IT guy or somebody coming from another stream, bio or thing, do they also would make good engineers? What is the main skill set needed?
Yeah, I think skill set we need to really understand about what is the really individual person wants to do, right? So if you look at the just as an aircraft industry or aerospace as industry, so in this industry, all the branches will be required, right? Whether it's a mechanical engineering, computer science, electronics, the structural engineering, propulsion engineering, because each of these, because if you look at the aircraft, just a simple aircraft, so aircraft has its design, which is actually designed by structural engineer or, a mechanical engineer. Then you have a aerodynamics, which is actually designed by aerodynamics engineer or a fluids engineers. You have in the aircraft, you have AC and ventilations, cooling and heat transfer. So you need a thermal engineer. Aircraft has a control and electrical and electronics component. So you need electronics engineer. Aircraft, those control algorithms are built with the software engineering. So again, you need a software engineer. So, and out of this is right now talking about the aircraft design and manufacturing. But if you look at the other side, aircraft is also maintained by the maintenance engineer, who again can be of varieties of stream. Electrical person will be electrical engineer, electronics maintenance will be electronics engineer, and there will be a set of the team who will be also, the mainly a data analyst who will be really doing the data calculation for having a, the best travel route, because, the aircraft has to go from point one to point B. So there is a thousands of possibilities from which flight can go, correct? So there will be a aircraft engineer, or they call as a route engineer. Their only objective is that at what kind of a route I should select so that my fuel consumptions are low. So that itself is one of the biggest industry in the civil aircraft, and then you have the defense and so on. So it's not that only the aerospace engineering. If you do, then only you can contribute and you can participate in any aircraft industry. You can have any domain and any area. Still, you can you'll able to contribute quite handsomely into this industry.
Okay, that's a wonderful insight for us, because all of you are aspiring to be, who are aspiring to work for, say, NASA and Tesla and so, or ISRO. I mean, there are so many other ways by which you can get it. You can be great at the mechanics side, like Sir said. You can be good at fluid dynamics. You could be even a data analyst, or you could come with the knowledge of combustion. So that would call for some kind of chemical engineering. So lot of streams can kind of go into making a into getting you into into this wonderful space of aeronautical and aerodynamics. So there is one question which we might we'll maybe try and handle at the end. After 12th, apart from aerospace, which other stream can a student get? So I think Harneet, this particular thing what Sir said answers your question, that you can get into any of the other streams also, and you can go on to do your masters in. You can go on to do your masters in aerospace and aeronautical and still be a part of this wonderful field. And anyway, all these companies require a host of other engineers and host of others, other skill sets as well. And so this is the way that you could get into this particular industry. Sir, I just want to know, like, especially now, a lot of these students are the ones who are aspiring to go abroad, and aerospace engineering is directly available at the undergrad level. So, should they directly specialize? Is it good to specialize right now, or then do they become very limited in their scope? Should they do something general at the graduate level, and then do their masters in a particular area? Like by then they would have identified, I'm good at say combustion, or like you said, launch and these things, and then they should specialize. Or what would be a good stream for them to take? Like,
yeah, so if you look at the bachelor, the study, it's most of the time it's a very generic in nature. They study most of the subject, irrespective of what the streams are. Only in the last, the couple of years, last maybe say 3 or 4 semester, which they really refine the, the subjects which is more tuned to their interest. But see, if you are very clear that this is what I want to do, that's a very important, right? If you are very clear that yes, my entire life goal is to become, I was saying that somebody was saying, astronaut, cosmologist, astrophysicist, as a scientist in this area, like you want to join, who can build a satellite, right? So if you are already clear in your mind, then it's a best thing to do the specialized study, because when you do aerospace engineering, within the aerospace engineering, there can be again subjects like electrical, electronics, control engineering, production engineering, mechanical engineering, structural engineering, combustion engineering, and so on. So there are varieties of field which is specified within the bachelor and the master level within the aerospace engineering, which is more tuned towards those aero and space industry. But if you do a mechanical engineering in general, then you may need to learn some of the jargon which this industry uses. It's not so difficult, but usually people catch up very fast. Once, for example, somebody says that, okay, avionics, in the aerospace engineering, avionics is a very common subject, but for electrical electronics, for them, just avionics word may be slightly different, because avionics is all this, whatever we have, the aircraft electronics is called avionics, whereas this electronics communication, they may not be using that jargon every time. So if you are clear in mind that I want to serve in this, I want to make a career in this aerospace industry, my advice will be to go through the aerospace engineering. But if you feel that you are not very clear at this point that whether I'll be really 100% sure that I want to get into this, then maybe a generic study will be much better and broader, where you can choose after your bachelor, look at your interest, and you can choose that, yes, I want to move to the next either aerospace sector or some different sector.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Dave, we will answer your questions. Let's complete the set of stream of interview, and then we will try and take the questions at the end. Others also can keep typing their questions that you have in the chat box. So it all sounds very glamorous and interesting, but I just want to know, what is the grit behind the glamour? What is the kind of hours that you have to put in, and what is the kind of hard work that you need to do? And have there been wow moments, and what have been the wow moments, and what have been the moments of disappointment in your job life?
Yeah, the moment, I think it's irrespective of what I do. I think any job or any company, which or any industry you are there, there are some wow in moment, and some the demotivation kind of stuff. But you should not think too much. The whole the holy grail in entire this career is whether whatever I'm doing, if I like, if I enjoy that particular thing doing, that's our goal should be. It's not that since that other person, he is doing aerospace engineering, he is a scientist, he's an astrophysicist, then I am also aerospace engineer. I think that's the biggest challenge, at least within our Indian society, especially that we try to follow some or other, irrespective of our many times interest. It could be peer pressure, it could be the family pressure, but it happens all the time. But if you look at what it takes to be the good career which you want to really, if you have chosen this career as a real interest, there are plenty of opportunity to really everyday smile, bring a smile on your face by doing something new, right? Something new is that you are the person who's at the cutting edge of the technology. You know that how the industry is really going, which are the directions, and many time the things which aerospace engineering person study, which other engineering does not. So it's like all complete alien. So it's a very good to be into the your with your peers. If you look at the effort which it takes, it's as general as good as you would have taken any other career choices. But the important thing, irrespective of this is true for all that industry, is that you have to keep on reading, keep on studying, keep on habit of learning of the something new every day. Even if if you look at if I take myself as a career, at least every day, couple of hours I spend in learning something new. What is happening? What actually industry is going to do? Because the thing which is there today will get absolute next day. So the only thing is the constant is the change. As I think all of you might have been learning this phrase, that change is the only constant. There's no constant. So if today I have this particular type of, as I said, the gas turbine engine, I studied in my bachelor and master as a gas turbine engine, which was a conventional engine. I did not study electric propulsion. But if you look at the next decade, might be of electric propulsion or electric aircraft, which is completely different, the ball game what actually we have studied. So we have to keep updating our skills. And for that purpose, you need to spare some time in your life, in your everyday. And that's where I'm saying the passion comes into the picture, that whether I'm really interested in this domain or I am just being pressurized by some peers or some friends or some, the family members. So it's important to be, spend time into the to learning. Look at the other aspect, especially in the industry, especially when you come out of the college, you always feel that, okay, now I do aerospace engineering and tomorrow I'm going to build aircraft, or tomorrow I'm going to build a satellite which will, going to the Mars and Jupiter. But in real industry, it does not happen like that. Okay, so that's sometimes it's even when I did my engineering, the first thing my father asked that, okay, now you did aeronautical engineering. So when you are building a aircraft, when you are building this satellite, I want to really see. Why don't you build immediately in the next 1 month? So that happens sometime, and in industry it does not happen like that. It's not like a toy which you can build in a day. So it's all a very long process, and it requires a large amount of the people and skills and technology to be used to realize one particular product as aircraft or as a satellite. And you may be working for one fraction of those entire big projects. And so sometimes it's when, especially if you come out of the college and suddenly you go to the industry, you feel, oh my God, I studied to build aircraft and I'm just building one tail. And that also I'm building only skin design, that how actually it is going to be. So that sometimes it's a challenging moment. And sometimes you feel that, oh, we study so much, but what actually we are just using our part of the skills which in the industry, but that's how the industry works. If you want to really do the complete thing, then you should target for the startup company, which is just starting. And right now within India, there are boom in the aerospace industry. Approximately 40 companies, just I'm saying that 40 companies within the India, which have just registered in the last 5 years to in the space domain. So if you go there, because since they are starting scratch, you have a still opportunity to contribute in a much bigger, compared to a bigger company like it could be GE, Boeing, or HAL or so on.
Wow, wonderful. So I just, to summarize what Sir said, and this is so important for every industry, that number one is you should be really passionate about what you're doing, because you have to constantly keep learning. Even in my field in HR, I have to constantly keep learning what is new. So unless I'm passionate about it, and unless I'm interested in that particular field, it's very difficult for me to keep updating, and constant learning is one of the things that you'll have to do if you take up this role or any other role. And the second thing that I got from what Sir said is that this is true for all the students. You come up with these grandiose plans ki main pura, I'm going to go to Mars the next day, and it doesn't happen. You might be probably just doing a very small bit of a very large plan, but even that small bit is a very important aspect, is what you need to realize and this again is of any industry. Even when people come and want to become investment bankers, they think, I'm going to make some big ticket deals tomorrow. But sometimes, when you start off, you're just given a very small bit of the pie. So it's important for you to have patience, to understand that whatever you're doing is also important, and tomorrow you're going to be making that you will grow to make that big satellite. So do whatever you're doing with a lot of effort. So that you already answered a part of it, sir, but that brings me to the next question as to where are the job opportunities right now. We'll come to colleges and all later, guys, because sir is an industry expert. So let's get more industry knowledge from him. About colleges, I will brief you. So, sir, where are the job opportunities? First of all, like you said, there are some 40 startups which have come up in India. That is one more thing, like a lot of misconceptualization which students have, that everything is happening abroad in US and Germany and stuff like that. But being into recruitments, let me tell you, like at least India has been into cutting edge of technologies in three main areas: pharma, space tech, and IT. At least these areas which I have seen, like India is really great. But from your experience, which you think are the top countries for recruitments, and which are the top companies which are recruiting in this space?
Yeah. Again, see this. As I said, that any industry has a lot of various job profile, right? As I said, in the beginning that. If you look at the job, what kind of you can be a researcher, like a few people were saying, students were saying about that, the astrophysicist, cosmologist, or being a scientist. So it's all about the research and development, right? So if you look into the R&D, we have the company within the India is like, the DRDO, ISRO, all these different branches of those NL, for example, CMRI. There are various group of like a CSIR lab, the Bell, BHL, all those companies, PSU as well as the government and defense. If you look at the outside, the company like a JPL, like a Jet Propulsion Laboratory, NASA, European Space Agency. If you look at the private, then nowadays the company like a SpaceX and so on, and the only so all these are into the everything, like it's into the design, development, research, as well as into the area of the building and flying these machines. If you look at the other sector, like a civil sector, like you have aircraft companies who just like Indigo, the Indian Airlines and so on, British Airways, Lufthansa. All these airlines finally need some set of aeronautical engineers, especially the maintenance engineers, because finally those are the people who are the signing authority before flight. So unless until those licensed engineer does not really sign those, the aircraft before every flight, you are not going to board and take up that particular flight. And I also talked about the companies which are lot of innovative new products, new concepts they are coming, which is coming through the mostly many of these startup companies. As I said that if you look at them, I'm really thrilled by the companies which come in there, especially within the India, which has come up just like they are giving a real fight to the company like a SpaceX in the US with the like 1/10 or in the fraction of the money which they are really spending into their business. So a company like Dhruva, actually those are the company like who's making a satellite, and these are the also lot of the incubation is coming from the company like ISRO and DRDO agency, who's actually helping. If you have interest into building a entrepreneurship, building a company, these are the companies that are coming up and incubating new set of engineers to come forward and invest in this area and do the research. So I've seen like a company like a Dhruva's, company like Exceed, Bellatrix, Skyroot, and these are all the company which is the student has just come up from the fresh from the college. BTech is a BTech or the Master of Engineering, and they've started these companies. And they are not only company started with the.
So can I just interrupt? I didn't get those names again. Dhruva, yeah. What are the other names you mentioned?
Oh, I said the Bellatrix, Skyroot, Ortho2, Orbit, Pixel. There are many such companies.
Orbit and Pixel. Okay.
In space. Yeah. So what does actually this company do is they are not only coming up with the company which is doing a traditional aircraft manufacturing or design or a rocket manufacturing. These are the companies coming with the innovative ideas with the lesser cost, lesser man hour, which a very new technology. Like as I said, the company like Skyroot, they have come up with the ideas of creating a launch vehicle which is much cheaper, mobile kind of stuff compared to what today even ISRO is building up. So, and these are all supported by the Indian industry conglomerate like ISRO and Indian Space Agency. So there are plenty of opportunity within India and also outside India, like as I said, NASA and European Agency and JAXA, like a Japan Aerospace Agency, especially in the area of research. But overall, if you look at the aircraft manufacturing company, there are plenty of companies in the world. If you look at the out of all these real OEM, there are many companies who supports the ecosystems are also contributes in. Like for example, as I said, the aircraft which is built by the HAL is supported by the company like many company who actually makes a small part of that component, right? So there are the fuselage can be built by somebody, tail can be built by somebody, their software will be built by somebody. So all this company, which is also a part of the ecosystem, they provide the opportunity for us to work and hire in this industry. So also don't forget the service company like engineering services company like Infosys, Wipro, TCS, Quest. All these finally they also support this company into their this big project. Like the Quest has the Infosys has the program with the Rolls Royce, like TCS has a program with the GM. So there are so many. Similarly, KPIT, not KPIT, Cummins, build the engine for various aircraft company. So there are plenty of ecosystems are there who is really opportunities are enormous as long as we are able to fit our knowledge and expertise in their shoes. And if you look at the government side also, as I said, DRDO, ISRO, they usually take it from the the graduate level, and they also come up with the master program. They're incubating directly inside. Like for example, in the Trivandrum, there is a institute which is actually they have completely customized the program which can be used for the space engineering, the satellite engineering. So there you can directly join, and it is almost it is as good as that you are trying to learn and work in the ISRO. So they try to incubate a lot of those scientists as a visitor. Similarly, NL, if you do some integrated or some PhD program, they really, those scientists who is really building this or those people who are doing research in this area are really teaching. So there are plenty of opportunity to learn and grow in this industry.
Okay, that's wonderful. So guys, this is, I mean, everybody asks us what are the future careers and what is, what is going to be in vogue for the next couple of years. This industry is definitely going to be on for the next couple of years. There's a huge demand. There's a huge demand for all sort of engineers who are the pure aerospace specialists, but also who support the entire function of the aerospace. And there are huge opportunities in India. Also, remember that, we flew a satellite to Mars at the cost, at like maybe 1/10 of the cost what NASA might have done. So there is cutting edge work happening in India, in abroad. So whoever has decided to kind of choose this field and feel you have the aptitude for it, definitely there's a wonderful, bright future awaiting. And so, yeah, now let's take questions and yeah, so Dheeraj, do we have aerospace colleges in India? Yes, all the IITs provide, I believe, Manipal, and there are certain other colleges. How good the program is, sometimes you need to go back to the thing and get, you need to go and evaluate the kind of internships those people have got, jobs that those people have got, because other than the IITs have a very good reputation, and they do take in a lot of effort to help their students. But in terms of your other colleges, like Manipal also has aeronautical engineering. Nowadays, aeronautical engineering is needed in all colleges. You need to also go and check back the kind of internships and jobs that they are providing to kind of get a real idea about how the field is. So Dave Sangar Rajka is asking, sir, can you elaborate on the research of the cosmos and how beneficial it is in the long run? And are there going to be a return on efforts? So, sir, would you like to answer this question as to research on cosmos and does all that research go back and help in in other areas of the world? That
Yeah, see, I think colleges, you already answered that apart from the IIT, there are many other colleges like Punjab Engineering College, like in Chennai, we have Hindustan Engineering College, and you talked about the Manipal, and similarly the BITS Ranchi. There are various other, the colleges which is there, who really nowadays, I think plenty of colleges, the pool of colleges, there is a not less college. Actually, when I did my engineering that time, there may be restriction of colleges, but at least right now I see there's at least thousands of colleges flooding everywhere. But if you look at only thing I would suggest that anytime you choose a college, choose slightly better college where you have a good research facility, good lab facility, good the teacher, irrespective of the location. So location does not matter. People always feel that if I am into that particular location, for example, some college may be into a very good city, but they may not have a good research lab facility. But if you are into a even a remote area, but they have very good research and lab facility and teachers, faculty. So that will really help. So always look at their alumni, that what are their alumni are, and how which are the companies are coming for the placement. So it will give you some kind of a idea about that particular college. So that is on the college. The second thing is about the research on the cosmologist. Is it Neha? Was it that question?
Yeah, whether this kind of research also helps in other areas, which I think it does. But yeah, any case, if you would like to answer that, how is there any particular incident where research in aerospace has helped in other fields as such, and that kind of.
Oh yeah, I think just simple. You can think of right now is the all of us we are hearing about the electric car, right? Hybrid car, electric car. I think there are a lot of now. Tesla has just set up the the factory in Bangalore. So and there are a lot of you might have seen that there are a lot of scooties and cars are the two-wheelers are like a company like Ather. They are also a very fresher from IIT Madras graduates actually. So there are a lot of these things are coming, and if you look at all the biggest challenge into the electrification today in any industry, especially automotive, is the battery, because your vehicle is moving, so you have to carry the the set of battery to really propel that. But those batteries are quite heavy in nature. Their weight is quite heavy, so that's the biggest challenge into the any the car and automobile company. And if you look at that, the company like ISRO, who were developing this battery technology from so many years, right? Because all the satellites works on the battery concept, correct? We didn't have in the space, we didn't use any kerosene fuel or something to burn. So it's mostly about the battery, especially if you look into the satellite once that is placed in the orbit. So using that kind of a concept, electric thrust concept. So the same battery, technology nowadays, has been imparted for the other industry, that, ISRO has given those knowledge, those technology, and put up into the automotive industry, the veterans to really adopt that technology, that how they can use the same technology or a similar kind of a technology within the automotive. And similarly, it happens with the vice versa also, because if you look at the automotive, their cycle time of creating the entire vehicle is a very within less than 1 year to 2 years. Okay, whereas the aircraft is a much bigger, the project line. So now the company in the aerospace, they are taking back this technology, that how actually we can also be so quick, and I can create a lot more variant of the aircraft rather than having a same set of aircraft into running for the years and decades. So yeah, there is always a cross pollination happens within the industry.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Another thing which I just wanted to add here is, like, for example, if you look at the IoT today, like Internet of Things, right? So you have the mobile, Wi-Fi, connectivity, radar, all those things are there. Now, aerospace is gaining that and creating a, the concept called the connected aircraft. And this is could not have been possible unless until you have all this internet data in the 5G and those concepts. So yes, that's each industry learn from each other and try to improvise their innovation.
Wow, that's great. So in fact, this IoT concept, we have an entire video covering IoT, which you could have a look at our site. And like Sir said, every field nowadays, everything is interconnected. So now here we are talking about specific scientific fields, but even I have seen that nowadays, even like a psychology is getting connected to science. Science is getting connected to finance. Finance is getting connected to arts, and in design, and so there are lots of interdisciplinary fields which are coming across, and that is going to be the future. Okay, so are there any disadvantages of pursuing aerospace in a foreign country with regards to citizenship? Yeah, Arav, so again, I'll just share my knowledge, and sir, if you have anything to add on to it. There are some countries which because aerospace and research is very high end, and it is highly like you say, confidential and stuff like that. So sometimes they do want their own citizens to first, avail of the opportunities and facilities which are available. Because there's a lot of funding which goes on. The funding is coming from those governments and those things. So when they are handing out jobs in, say, NASA or other places, they definitely want their own people to first get their jobs. Say maybe an American citizen, or I think that has always been the first priority there. And so also in other countries. So that is the thing. So would you like to add anything about this as to the kind of do we employ other guys, and is there anything on this? Like,
yeah, I think that's a very good question, and for this moment, because especially this also has to be very truly accepted that especially most of these aerospace companies work on very prestigious research, and these are very long-term research, and they are very afraid about getting things out in the market because that's their IP, right? So it's most, there are two types of job in the aerospace. One is not only aerospace, but many other industry. One is called the export controlled, and there is a non-export control. So export control jobs are always very limited to the citizenship of those countries, and it is true even within the India also. It's not that it's true for any country. So suppose tomorrow somebody from America wants to get job done for the export control job, maybe it will be difficult for him as well. The same thing when Indian is working there and they want to get into a job which is export control in nature, they will have the same problem. So as long as that is not export controlled kind of a the requirement, anybody from any country, any region, any geography can really work, and they can employ the people. But studying a particular subject in any country does not have any disadvantage or advantage, So as it's all about that, what is your knowledge, what is your innovation, what you have learned, and what you have created a project which is giving the value addition for a particular company. They can hire you irrespective of any country. So like I myself have hired like in within my company, for example, like a Singapore and Australia and various other countries. So I don't see that is a bigger challenge here.
So these guys are planning to do their undergrad, say abroad, and so would you be hiring them when they come back to India?
Yes, that's what I said. That even I have hired the people. Like one of my currently, which I have my team member. He's from the so he studied his master and PhD from the Singapore University. I had another team member who worked in the different my colleague who was actually he did his mechanical engineering from the UK, and he is still with us. So there is no such disadvantage as such, as long as you are able to perform into the in the interview and do well, you have the fair chances, irrespective of the country and geography.
Great. So one more thing to tip, whatever you say, tip from my experience is all the 4 years that you're using in your undergrad or even your 2 years of postgrad studies, make sure you have enough projects, internships and experiences that you can show in your CV so that, when you're out in the job market, they are ready to take you. Just not because you have studied from, say, IIT or say UBC or Georgia Tech or something. It should be the kind of projects that you've done. So even then, if you've done great projects, so even if you come from some I think it depends on the kind of work. But nowadays, it's all about what you do rather than what you show in your CV. It's all about what you've done. So that could help you. I think we've already overcrossed our time, so we should be winding up. And thank you so much, sir. And this has been an amazing session, guys. If you can please put in your thanks and comments for sir and us. And also, I just like to tell you. I mean, this answers so many of the questions that so many students have been asking me, and a lot of students from this particular, even in this session and later when we share this session, are going to, enter the stream of aerospace and aeronautical. I'm sure they'll thank the day that they sat into this session, and they would definitely like to thank you, sir, if they have created a career in this field. So thank you so much, and for all the people who are watching, there are. So through on the job, we try every week to give you, an insight into some session. So last week we had somebody was talking about cosmetic research from Hindustan Unilever. Next week we are planning to have. Next week we have a session on cognitive psychology, which is a great field, especially for all you UI UX designers, etc. You won't believe how much psychology is getting used in to create new products. So please do use this. Please use these opportunities. These are free webinars, so you can share it with as many people. And after that, we are planning to do a session on music. So careers in music, because a lot of people say that I want to convert my passion into a profession. Is that possible? And that is what we are going to try and address. So do stay connected to On the Job. You can follow us on the Job handle on Instagram. And we keep giving you, right now we are also posting a lot of internships and project opportunities which you could take up and keep building up your resume all the time. And yeah, and thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. Yeah, guys, can I have some more? After some time we might put it up in Oppo Reno 3. I'm not too sure about the recording. You can connect to me personally and we will see. And guys, can you also type in some comments as to how this session helped you, so that can, some feedback on how this session helped you, which could really help us in the future also as to how we should go about conducting the session. Yeah.
So thanks, Sunia, and I really appreciate all the and wish all the students to be very best in their career. And anytime if you feel, please, if somebody has some more question, they can always write back to me. You can write to Neha. Neha can get detail, connect with me, and we can share those answers. So please feel free to. And this is always remember that the passion is the one which you really need to follow it up. Don't get pressured. Whatever you like, you should follow. It will be good for you and your career. And all the very best. And thank you, Neha, for all the opportunities to meet so many students.
So much, sir. Thank you. And it's so wonderful that we have a mentor who is so willing to help us. And it's been a wonderful experience. Sir. Thank you so much. And all of you, please type in a comment before you log out. And thank you so much. Please stay connected. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. So he says he's discovered some new fields and insights, and thank you so much for that.
No, absolutely. I appreciate his comment. Yeah, thank you. And as I said that I have been working in the various it's my passion. It's not out of the job profile that I have built many of the fixed wing as well as the UAV just for my passion, and also I do a lot of electronic gadgets in my part time. So yeah, feel free to anytime if you need any help or any suggestions. So thank you very much.
Imagine having a mentor at this level. So that's great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I'll be closing the session soon, so you can exit. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.